Hi guys, welcome to Transits and Tactics. We are in the gate of logical depths this period, this transit, this week. It's gate 48. I love this gate. I have it in my chart. I actually have the whole channel of, they call it channel of talent or the wavelength. It's not that I'm like super talented. It has nothing to do with that, but it is about mastering a skill and, and speaking with enthusiasm. And this is really interesting. I want to touch on this later in terms of, your marketing. And this week there's some really interesting energies, I think, for creating content and really looking at your marketing materials and your messaging in a very good way. But let's first unpack a little bit. What is this energy about? So gate 48, it sits on our spleen. So we're talking about a primal instinctual energy again, and it's a logical energy, so it is about trying to get to the depths of it. In a way, it's something that helps you challenge yourself. Maybe this week, if you don't have this energy, you might feel it more acutely than, say, me, who is used to this. But you might challenge yourself or meet situations where the question will be like, how deep can you go with this? And the answer is up to you. Some people choose to live shallow lives and never, or have shallow relationships, never go deep. And then there's other people for whom depth is like a drug. You have to, and I'm one of those people. Like, I don't do shallow end at all. I really can't win on that end, but I can go really, really deep. I might come across very heavy for some people because it's just you have to go deep and to the bottom, and you're finding this is a resourcefulness. So this is the energy of the well, the well where people come to get, water. This is where people can tap into your resourcefulness this week. This is going to be all activated. So this is the energy where you are going deeper and you're discovering quite practical solutions and resources that you can sustain yourself, that helps you sustain yourself, but also the others. So this is the energy where we can help others, whether with our ideas, advice, practical applications. It doesn't mean that you have to like jump on others now, like watch out, check in with your authority, think about your human design, whether you have a lot of projected energy, maybe you need to be invited into helping, but the opportunities to support others might be about. So you need to be alert and aware of that. With the depths comes the fear, and the fear is of the unknown, and it's really, I've encountered this so much in my life where there is a period or there's something that you're facing, and it could be something big and life changing, or it could be something even in the business and marketing. It could be something like, oh, shall I, create this new program, today and or this week I'm writing my second book now, and there is this kind of like a paralyzing fear of who am I, in a way, to speak about it, like do I have the guts, is this information that I'm creating going to, live up to my even expectations? So this fear of inadequacy, but it comes with gate 48. It's the shadow energy, and it's here, I think, to make you question your abilities, but also then practice gentleness and kindness to yourself, and allowing yourself to not give up, to go through this. Because on the other side of this fear, this is the kind of feel the fear and do it anyway energy. Because on the other side of this fear, there are great discoveries. You will discover, you might discover that what you were afraid of is actually not so scary after all, that you have everything it takes to succeed and to be of value to yourself and to others. There's so many beautiful discoveries. So this week, whatever comes up, I encourage you to face it, be gentle to yourself, check in with yourself. There's going to be a lot of themes of what's right and what's wrong. What do you believe in? Because it is all triggered, it's all connected. So when you are facing your beliefs, again, stand by what you stand by. I mean, check with yourself. Is this really still correct for you? Is this a belief that is valid? And if it is, even doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. There could be maybe confrontations. I'm not saying that there will be, but there could be confrontations. There could be legal battles. There could be anything where you have to stand your grounds. Stand your grounds. if that's what you believe in, this is the energy. You have the cosmos behind you. You have the influence for that. So that's really, really cool energy, I think. And another thing as well, that just to gain more confidence when you're feeling a little bit unsure or inadequate, focusing on small thing at a time could be the way to gain the skills and gain more confidence. Even funnily enough, before we started recording this, we both sort of shared that we felt a little bit unprepared, or kind of like there's just this confusion about this energy. Although for me, this is the energy I know inside out. When I talk about it, it's something that is so natural to me, so I'm now that we are recording and that I am talking about it, I am thinking like, what was I confused about? It's so clear, it's all here, so again, do it anyway, even if it's unclear. We also have the Earth in gate 21, and it's the gate of the hunter and the huntress, and it is about having more control in our lives, even when it feels like we have no power. So we have this grounding energy, and the logic, the practical ideas, they're all activated, they're all heightened right now. This is the time when we're contemplating and taking action to make things better for ourselves and others in our lives. And I think that this is really good. When I'm thinking about this energy, if you overcome that fear, that, oh, I can't cope with this. A lot of people give up. I've just recently had a story. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but the bottom line is that somebody was facing a big task. And to overcome that task, it would take an hour and a half of their time. But they talked themselves out of this by, questioning whether it's worth with their mental health and other things. And that's a choice. Yes, you can do it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's negative. But on the other hand, it was only an hour and a half of this sort of discomfort, because it's not really real pain. You're not going to be killed or, it's not like life threatening. It's just our mind. Our mind is constantly throwing these things, these challenges at us, and then the fears that live in our primal brain, the lizard brain, that are completely illogical sometimes, but they stop us. And I think that this is a good week. If you're facing something like this and you're trying to talk yourself out of it, at least just gently try, because it might all work out and actually might take much less time and effort than overthinking and resisting it and, talking yourself out of that. And the last thing I want to say as well, because I mentioned I have the whole channel. So if you have gate 16 in your chart, even if you don't have the whole channel, this week it will be activated. The really cool thing about having the channel of talent is the ability to speak with enthusiasm. So if you believe in anything, and if you are passionate about something, it will show in your voice. Now, when you're talking about something you don't know, it will also show, and it will give these people a sense of like, something's off, this is like suspicious. So be careful what you're talking about, but tap into your expertise, especially in business and marketing. I noticed today working on my book, like things are just, this is a very good energy to finding specific solutions and specific problems and also explaining them really well on a practical level. And I just noticed today when I was writing, and I had not the writer's block, but there was a little bit procrastination. Today it just started flowing again. So this is the energy, and this is just the first day we're recording this, the first day of the transit. So there's 6 days. I'm going to make the most of it working on my book. Another thing you can do, have a look at your website, see if everything there is aligned with how you express yourself, because you might find that this energy gives you a little bit clearer way of expressing yourself. So I suggest, don't do it for the sake of doing it. Don't do it just because I mentioned it, because tweaking your website can be also a trap. But if you feel like, if you look at it and you see, oh, I could say it better, and you have that knowing inside, because this is the splenic gate now is activated. This is also, it's really good to trust your instincts. Then go ahead and change it. It's not a tattoo. You can always change it back, right? So write content, record videos. This is a great, especially if you have gate 16, it's going to flow. Trust me. And it's a really, it's the X factor energy. And that's how we sell people with this channel. That's how we sell. We don't need to have any other money energy in our chart. We just need to talk, and this enthusiasm sell on itself. So really good pointers, I think. And it's a really good energy. And before I move to Anita, just the last thing, because it's about gaining skills to overcome that fear of inadequacy, whichever small or big way it's going to show. You might want to look at like taking more like study, take classes, take workshops to learn new skills. While I truly believe that we need to be in control, especially as business owners, it's always better to understand what you're doing and take time to learn that. You don't need to learn the whole scope. For example, if you have a website, learn how you yourself can do basic edits on this website, or create a basic blog post, rather than thinking, oh, I'll just, because I'm so afraid and overwhelmed of it, I'll just outsource it. Because you're going to spend more time collecting ideas, putting them together, writing them, to send it to somebody who in 10 minutes will put it into a post, on your website, rather than spending a couple of hours only to learn how to do it yourself, because you're actually not outsourcing the whole task, you're outsourcing the 10 minutes, right? So be aware what you're investing this week. If you just have this feeling like, oh, I need to know more, I'm not enough, if your instinct says yes, if your authority says yes, of course, by all means, we need to gather new skills, of course, to grow. And it's all the energy of 48. It's all about expansion and growth. All of this is aiding, the depths. It's all aiding the expansion. But if it's just because you're feeling inadequate, hold back. The transit will go, the energy will go, and then you will have to face that, you've spent money on another online course for no reason. So that's the little message from me. Anita, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, this is an interesting one for me because I don't have this in my chart. So I experience it through others. Um, and this one, it's coming right in the middle. It's coming right in the solar eclipse today, which has this energy also. The moon is in this energy. Now, what I found about this one was fun, was I thought it was really cool because I never noticed it before. The depth that I'm seeing is learning to connect with your intuition, your inner feminine gifts, your instincts, your insights, your decision strategy through practice. So you overcome the fear by practicing the information or practicing the skills so that you get better at them. And a really good example of this was I started playing match play last year in golf, and it freaked me out having to show up to this level. I was really scared of it, but it was like anything. Once I did it, I wasn't so afraid. So it got that fear into perspective, which I thought was cool. The other thing is there's a grand trine and a water grand trine at the moment, which includes Mars, Venus, and Saturn. They're all in water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So there's a deep clearing with this eclipse, a deep clearing of those old patterns of fear, that we started things through fear and that urgency or anxiety, rather than now start them from the depth of that inner yes. And, there's a lot of paranoia and there's a lot of bullshit around about, tapping into those feminine gifts, tapping into your psychic powers, your intuition, and so learning how to do that in a safe way with someone who is safe is really powerful, because now you move from being an expert to being a genius. You're moving from the zone of expertise where you're very good at doing this into the zone of genius where you bring it to the next level. And, I just found it absolutely amazing. And this is also, with this eclipse today, it's about setting new goals now from that depth of yes, rather than setting the goals from the fear. Because we have all the energies in the in the planets are saying, yeah, let it go. Let those old patterns go, those old relationships we have with fear, the old relationships we have with being brilliant, and the old relationships that we have with sharing our gifts, feeling enough to share our gifts. So really, really powerful energy. Out of balance, this is the person who's so afraid of their gifts that they just bury their head in the sand. That's one, and their life becomes so bland because they're trying to do it the way everybody else is doing it and wondering why there's no life in it, right? The other side is people taking advantage of those fears. You
Mm.
know, people literally taking what is it here? Manipulating the fears of others, hiding behind a specific, hiding behind a system.
That's a
So
marketing in a nutshell in almost every niche. Like all the coaching,
yeah,
of the certain
yeah,
things, so using manipulating the fears, and of the fear. It's so interesting because this is something we all face. Like, let's say, like, people like us who are building their business themselves. Like, I'm a proud solopreneur. I'm a lone wolf as well, so I don't need a big team for my business. And in you as well are running the business, and you're using the resources you have. And sometimes, we're creating this some sort of persona, like take photo shoot or something, and that looks kind of scary, and you're like, "Oh, that's not me. I don't know." And this is the point where a lot of people, and this saddens me so much because a lot of people give up on this point, where it feels bigger than what they are. Even when let's say they did a photo shoot and the photographs are a little bit more enhanced, because like, everybody enhances their photos out there in the big world, right? I'm not talking about the ordinary people. I'm talking about anyone with prominent visibility. They're photoshopped to the brim. But when we do it a little bit, that's scary, because this is not, we don't recognize ourselves. But this is a bigger vision that we have. So by putting it out there, and really it's scary and you do feel inadequate, that's you kind of announce it to the world, and then you get to grow into this. There will be a stage where this not only becomes normal, you kind of don't see, how is it a big version, this is just me. That happens to me all the time.
yeah, that's so cute. Like it's like people fear the fear itself.
Yes.
They're afraid of the fear. They build the fear up to mean too much. And actually, fear is designed to warn you if you're in mortal danger. So any action that you're taking that's not putting you in mortal danger and you're afraid, means that fear needs to be explored. You might be just feeling that splenic survival fear. Oh, will I survive? Will people still like me? Well, whatever. So it's recognizing, it's learning how to manage those fears, how to work them and really interpret them correctly. I see this is where we're going with relationships, obviously in business, with everything, is recognizing that don't let someone saying, oh, if you don't do this, dot, dot, dot will happen, or if you don't do this, dot, dot, dot will happen. And just kind of really honor yourself and really honor that you need to have your own standards, your own needs. So overextending yourself or overgiving or overcompensating for others, that's on you. That is on you. And that's what we're shifting this eclipse is, we're shifting that fear energy that leads me to do that.
Mm.
I won't get the job if I don't do it, or I won't get the contract or they won't extend my contract. This, fear, as opposed to trusting. And this is karmic energy we're releasing here today. We're right in the middle of the eclipse today. This is karmic energy we're releasing. And the karma is what happens when you continually doubt yourself and undermine yourself. So that karma is being cleared. So the opposite, of course, is trust yourself and support yourself in your under trust in your resourcefulness as you move forward. And this is where the two energies work brilliant, 48 and 21. Instead of trying to control everything outside of you, you get into your inner balance within, and then you allow your resourcefulness shine through. Very powerful day.
It's amazing. While you were talking, I actually have a story from my life to describe the depths and the fear of the depths that literally happened to me on a very, very basic, obvious level. When I was about 4 or 5, I was doing figure skating, and we were going from the figure skating place through a big park with a beautiful pond. In November, there was about 1 millimeter of ice on that pond, and I asked my mom, "Can I skate on that?" And she said no. And of course, being a third line, I challenge whatever everybody says to me. So I go there, and I fell through the ice. My mom was walking into the opposite direction. Miraculously, she saw me and she saved me. So somewhere there, a little fear of drowning and depths started. But then, as I was growing, went to school. In our school, we had a pool, like dedicated swimming pool. Not every school has that, but we had the privilege, and we had it as part of our physical exercise, routine, is to go and learn to swim. For the 10 years I spent in that building, or maybe even 11, I pretended that I couldn't let go of that fear, and I couldn't even make myself try. The fear of not being able to stand and feel the ground was just way beyond me. But now I have to question this, because fast forward, 38 something years. So when I was 42, we went to a swimming pool. I just like already knew that I'm going to just be in a shallow end. And then my husband, Les, just mentioned something about swimming. Like he was like, try doing it this way. And I did try, and I realized that it was not about me pushing through this fear that I can't stand up and there's no depths, but it's about me gently trusting that I can glide in that water. And so the fear of, if I stand and there is no air, I will die. It's a very, very strong, powerful fear that I had, kind of completely dissipated, because I started trusting that by just softly floating and doing certain things, and being able to float on the water without that fear that I'm going to drown now, so trusting my body, I gained so much. I would even say it was like a different level. Not only I learned how to swim, literally within 2 or 3 weeks I could do 22 laps in the pool, like over a kilometer, in one go.
Mm.
So that was, I didn't even dream about that. But it was the other thing that I've discovered. I've discovered that being within this trust and trusting the water, that was the best place for me to, in a way, meditate. And I had so many brilliant ideas. It's like I was tapping into my inner depths and resourcefulness, while I was allowing on the outer to trust my body that it's not going to die, and it can swim and it can go and enjoy itself. Now, by saying all that, I still don't swim in the deep water, because not because of in the sea, not because of the depths, but because there's a different fear of the creatures that are living there. So that, let's not go in there. There's always some fears that we're facing, right? But I just thought that this was such a good example of facing something that really is a life or death fear, really primal, really overwhelming. It's a fear of, I think that Richard Rudd said, the fear of annihilation. It's like you will stop existing. That's
Mm.
the kind of what you're facing, but
Mm.
it's in your head.
It's
So, yeah,
yeah.
being kind, being gentle is the way to go through.
It's almost like what we're learning at the moment is learning to trust yourself as the resource. So trusting, like you just described, that you can handle it,
Yeah,
that you can hold on to the side if you
that's it.
need to, that you can take a step, that you can honor your yes, no if you need to. You can read the room if you need to. And that the balance that's required to do that, but it's not even that. It's like giving a perspective. Like survival fear is life or death, but they're not all life or death situations. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
it.
it's really trusting that, yeah, I can handle this. And if I need more information or if I need more, I'll know what I need when I need it. So it's a new level of trust in the self. It's moving from trusting the mind, because we can't really trust any information at the moment, can we? Well, hardly any. But it's moving from the information off the page onto into real life, and that's what this energy is about, moving through that fear. Not I don't think it's a big leap energy. It's more to do with recognizing, look, I can always just hold on to the side. Look, I can release my expectations about
That's
what I
what it was. It really is. It really was a tiny click. It's literally clicked. It wasn't a big, big life-changing moment, nothing. It was just like, ah, and then everything changes. And what you're describing is really, really good, because you're just trusting yourself that when and if you need, the resources for your safety are available to you. And that makes such a huge difference. But this is the same thing happens on any other level. It doesn't have to be as extreme as, learning to swim. Because in life, we do the same. We're so afraid to let go of that fear and actually try, that we never try. And I
Mhm.
think this energy is giving us this, sometimes maybe you will be in a situation where you'll have to face it. And then just a tiny adjustment. It's a tiny adjustment that brings big expansion and a new level of depth, whatever it is in your life. But again, as I said, it's a choice. You can choose not to be deep, and it's fine. That's your choice. This is the control part. You're in control right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's wonderful. Actually, this is really cool. And guys, if you're watching this, and I know a lot of people now watching this repeatedly through my channels and Anita's channels, let us know how you're experiencing this, even up to date. There could be a few days into the transit every time when we're releasing this video, because these experiences help us all as a collective, as on the whole, to understand, because we have our perspectives, but we're only two individual people. So what about your story? What about maybe in the light of what we described? What happened? What have you found? What have you faced? It's really beautiful to share that sometimes. And as you share, you might even find other practical solutions to your own fears. And I think that this is what, if you have gate 16, this can really help, that you can become clear. But even without it, this is the energy where you can discover resources and solutions and practical implementable stuff. So I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah. Do you have anything to add?
I just wanted to say one thing. The last time the eclipse was on this activating this point was in October 2005. So go back there and see, did anything happen to you at that time, or did you have a big life change or whatever? Because with the astrology, it's like kind of can look forward and they can look back. But what you'll find is you'll have a similar. So last October 2005 was when I started into learning about angels, learning about spiritual development, about my developing my intuition and my psychic tools. Now, this time, I'm teaching about connecting with your intuition, teaching about developing your spiritual and inner deep tools that allow you to really knock things out of the park. I was just, I just wanted to say that because you can look back and say, oh, okay, I'm moving to the next level of resourcefulness.
Yes, that's it. That's it. It's really all super fascinating. I personally find that watching the transits helps get through the crazy life experience that each one of us is here and learning the lessons we're here to learn. This is really helping. At least it sort of gives me the sense of like, okay, this is not me losing my marbles. This is the cosmos and the energy, and it really gives also a little push. And like I was writing a book today, working on my book today, and then I started preparing for this recording. That just gave me so much empowerment. I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the right track. What I'm doing, I'm sharing, I'm on the right track. This is what these videos, we hope to do this for you. We hope to encourage and empower you to stand in your power, to trust yourself, and this is where all the magic and all the success happens. So
Yeah.
guys, we are so excited. We're so delighted we can do this, every week for you, or every 6 days. And we hope to hear from you. We will see you in the next episode of Transits and Tactics. See you later. Bye.